is Brother Rodney from Gospel Time at Smooth Jams Radio. I have the honor and pleasure to interview and to introduce husband and wife couple, a dynamic ministry duo. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you SoJo Ministries. Can you please say hello to the listeners?
Hello, listeners.
Hello, everyone. God bless.
God bless you.
Definitely. I just have to make sure I have this correct. SoJo stands for
Sophia, and I'm Sophia Yancey, and then I'll let my husband introduce the next part.
And Joe Yancey, so that makes up the SoJo.
Great. Glad to hear that you're doing it together, a husband and wife duo for Christ in ministry and song. So that's what it's all about. Let's get to the questions. Together, how long have y'all been singing?
I'm gonna go ahead and let my husband answer that question. Go ahead.
We've been singing for probably almost right on 2 years now as a couple. We've been around music for a little while, and God has blessed our ministry and really uplifted a lot of people that heard the songs and testimonies that He has allowed us to experience in life, and we're just happy just to be a part and to be a vessel just to bless people through what God has given us.
Okay. May I ask, have you individually sang professionally?
I was blessed, fortunate to be around music all my life. My mother and father were actually singers and, played musicians, played around a lot of different musicians. And I did have a chance to play and sing for, a lot of different professional groups, but God has called me and my wife together now from that experience that He's given me to help her ministry grow, to touch hearts and souls abroad.
Yeah, and for me, this was something that was definitely a call-in for me. I had no intentions on singing, and what happened is the Lord brought me into the ministry, and when He calls, you answer. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was definitely a calling in my life, something that I didn't know until He actually called me into the ministry.
Great. Question I'd like to ask is when you jump in your car and just get ready to go whatever your destination may be, what's in your CD player? What music do y'all play on your way to wherever you're going?
Oh, that's funny. My husband makes gospel CDs for our cars. He has one for our kids, like gospel hip hop and things like that. Then he also has one for us where it's worship. We listen to our own music as well, but we love to listen to a variety of artists because we look at it like this: depending on what our spirit needs at that time, that artist's ministry will minister to our spirit. So, we listen to a variety of Christian artists. Husband, you can go ahead and answer that too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, some of the artists are like you listen to people like Michael W. Smith, Ty Tribbett, Mary Kurt Franklin, James Moss. I mean, so many of them that we listen to. We try to listen to a variety of artists instead of just one genre of music, because what happens if you just listen to one genre of music, especially if you're into music, a lot of times your music will start to sound, if you produce music as well, will start to sound like this thing that you put in your ears. So we try to listen to all styles of music. We listen to country, we listen to jazz. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Just because God's given everybody a different talent, as far as music is concerned. Everybody has a different ear to hear different things. So we play it all. As long as it's positive anyway.
Yeah. You touched on Ty Tribbett. The man is like an ever-ready bunny. The man has so much energy.
Oh my gosh!
Did you see the Stellar? I believe it was the Stellar Awards when he opened up. I mean, they was bouncing and praising God all over the stage and his background. So yeah, that's one art. I love his music because it's positive. It's positive and it's hip and it's today, and it's not a new message. It's an old message with a new approach, and that's where I look at it.
And that's good. I mean, and honestly, the young generation out here, and different generations, they need to hear the same message, but just a little twist to it. Just to get their attention so that they can hear it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I said, we all have different talents and our music, as artists touches who me and my husband may touch, another artist may not be able to touch them through their music, but our music would touch them, So yes, definitely, I definitely agree. You got to have the same message, but just a different twist.
I agree. Have you worked on any projects before your solo release of Rejoice? Anything, or maybe you have something in the works now?
Yeah, we have some now we're working on now. Rejoice is our first single, but God has given us a lot of songs that a lot of listeners have not heard yet. We're just getting them ready, and it's time for everything to release. But the next song will be Thank God. We'll have that released hopefully before the end of spring, and we're just getting it together. We just don't want to rush any songs that God's given us because we want to take our time and do it right. A lot of artists rush things and then they regret it after they put it out. So we want to make sure that what we put out is God is pleased and we're pleased before we release it.
Great. Well, you mentioned Rejoice. People can get that single from where? Where can they get that?
That's my wife's going to answer. But you can go to our website. It's just on iTunes. I mean, it's on all the digital media outlets. It's everywhere. Amazon.com. You can get it anywhere. Just Google Rejoice and SoJo Ministries, and it should pull up there exactly where the areas that it's located to download.
Yeah, because that is like my husband and had said earlier, that is our first single. We are working on our second single, Thank God, and like you said, it will be released this spring. And then the next thing we're working on is our whole project. So we will have in 2013 a full CD project that will be available in stores as well.
Great. As far as lifestyle of a Christian, is there anything that's trending that you approach, that you adapt, and just really what's trending in your lives as a couple, a Christian, God-fearing, God-loving couple?
Because I'll let you answer first, and then I'll touch base on what you say.
Well, the main thing is that a lot of couples, where I've noticed in the gospel area, that where they kind of they're not as close as they should be. I think, my personal opinion, especially after speaking to them, talking to them to God as you may think they are. But what we try to do, we try to just make sure to keep God first and foremost in everything that we do, and we try not to adapt to the trends, because what happens is we adapt to the trends. Sometimes it becomes worldly. We don't want our ministry to become worldly in any way or form. We just want to make sure that it's godly, and when you see it, it's God, it's respectful and honorable to God in everything that we do.
Yeah, because you see a lot of married couples out there, that are Christians, and we have to set an example. We see divorce, married couples being divorced, and things of that nature. And where my husband and I, marriage is not easy. It's something that you have to work at. But when you put God first and you love God before your marriage, you can make it work. I mean, I know there were times, even with me and my husband, where if we didn't put God first in our lives, in our marriage, if we didn't love God more than each other, we wouldn't be married today. But we love God more than we love each other. And when you have God as your cornerstone, as the main foundation of your life, there's nothing that you can't get through.
Wow, that's wonderful to hear, and encouraging for listeners. I'm Brother Rodney, and Gospel Time is heard on Smooth Jams Radio Sunday through Friday, starting at 5 a.m. and all day Sunday. Gospel Time. I'm talking with SoJo Ministries. That would be Sophia and Joe Yancey, and their single release was Rejoice, and you can get that just about any media outlet or digital outlet. I have another question that as a couple or individually, what if there was a song that you would like to do over, or put a different spin, or do a remake of? Is there a song that comes to mind?
Joe, you can answer first, honey.
One song I do like out there that we don't sing. It's not really our style, but My God is an Awesome God. I like that song. But God has given us so many songs, and a lot of times God wakes us up 3 or 4 in the morning, and you put the song in our spirit or a melody in our spirit, and it's hard to go back to sleep. So a lot of times we have to get up and start writing or start putting something down, even if it's a piano lick or something, just to remember and record it. And but we try just to do what God gives us, and He's given us so many songs that a lot of listeners haven't heard. They will be hearing soon. But He's given us so many songs just to touch people's hearts that we just try to focus on that.
And it's amazing because, like my husband said, the Lord will wake us up different times in the morning and put, different melodies in our hearts. But it's amazing because every single song that we have is a real life testimony. Mm-hmm. There's a testimony behind each one of our songs. And, God may put something in my spirit, a song, and I'll start singing, and then I go into the studio with my husband, because he's the producer as well, and he'll start playing the music, and it's amazing how God put the music in my husband's heart and then put the song or the lyrics in my heart, and then we join it together. Mm. But it's always a real-life testimony of what we went through or something that happened to us as a married couple or individually.
It's doing it together. It's not I or me. It's we. And I hear that loud and clear in talking with you. But I got to ask you, if you wasn't singing, if you wasn't ministering, if there's something else, is there another career you might also be doing or be doing?
Well, I know for me, this I always had like a fashion sense where, I went to school. I have a marketing degree, but I went to school, and then I also was dealing with like fashion styling and things of that nature. But from the time that I was a young girl, I used to write poetry. And I used to, because I went through a lot of different, trials and tribulations of life. And that was one way that I would be able to express myself or express the feelings that I had inside. And I would always write. I would write every day. So, if I wasn't singing, for the Lord and in ministry for the Lord, I definitely would be doing something with my writing. And I know that's a future project, but doing something with my writing, as well as, probably continuing in the fashion industry.
Joe?
And for me, me would be probably sports. I was heavy in sports. My dad played professional baseball for the Pirates, and I was heavy in sports in college. And God has didn't allow that to happen. I kept getting hurt in college. I had opportunity to try out for a lot of different teams, Phillies and New York Mets and things like that. But he just didn't allow me. I blew my shoulder out, and that was the end of my career. So. But, my mind probably would have been sports. I was really heavy in the sports, all type of sports. So that would be my profession if I wasn't doing God's ministry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And is there anything else coming up for you guys? SoJo Ministries touring or speaking engagements or anything that you might be doing coming up down the road?
Yeah, we have some things coming up in the making. We're just concentrating on now getting this next single out. Thank God we've been adamant about that. So we're just trying to get that out and done and released, and then we'll start working on singing and, ministering out in the public, for the spring and the summer months as the song is released.
Yeah, because we excuse me, we were doing a lot of ministering and singing, and we had to kind of not stop, but we had to focus on this next single that's coming out, thank God. And so we've been putting a lot of our energy and time in the studio, and but like my husband said, I know definitely we have some different things that will be coming up that will be posted on our website, through our social media, which is Twitter and Facebook. We're on all the social media. We will definitely post when we'll be where we will be singing next and ministering to the Lord next.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Another question I love to ask artists is, if you can turn back the clock, if you can remember yesterday, I ain't gonna say far back yesterday, I'll say yesterday, what song do you remember?
About our songs or other artist songs, or
whatever
was the first song you ever remember hearing.
For me that's easy because I remember being just, I'm going to go all the way back, not even yesterday, but being a young girl, like I said, I had some different things that I went through in my life growing up, as a lot of us do, but it was a rough time for me. And I remember going to church with my grandmother, my father's mother, and she was, in the Baptist church, and all I remember is, it's funny that think back, but I'm coming up the rough side of the mountain. I used to think about that. I used to hear that song because they used to always play a commercial, and that song would always come on, but it used to minister to my spirit because I was going through a rough time. And thinking back, that's the song that always, when I think back, that's the song that came up in my head.
Yeah, my song would be Amazing Grace. That's one of the songs that brought me back to God, and this brought me back, instead of being lukewarm, it brought me back to Him and serving Him completely, wholeheartedly with my heart. So Amazing Grace would be the song I would bring first to my mind as first.
Wow. I can relate to both of those songs. We both, I'm quite sure you had a hymnal with the songs in there. I remember clearly, being in the Baptist church, and then they had I think the hymnals was red, and Amazing Grace was like the first song, and coming up the rough side of the mountain was probably near the middle. So, so there was very, very, in the Baptist church, I know that it was very popular. In closing, I would like, both of you or individually, of course, but give some advice, to potential artists, gospel Christian artists, worship and praise artists that can just, keep their heads in the right direction and not to veer off. Any advice that you would like to give?
Okay, yes, definitely. I know for me, because my husband and I, our style is different than a lot of styles that you hear out there. So my advice is when you're doing, whatever you're doing for the Lord, you're ministering to the Lord, it doesn't matter what style you have. It doesn't matter, it touches some people and it may not touch others. Your style of music is the style that God has given you, and it's to reach someone. So to keep going, no matter how hard it is, to keep going and to realize that it's not about you, but it's about God. It's about His ministry. It's about His calling that He has placed on your life. And to put God first and not make it about yourself. Because when you put God first and you look at it as it's His ministry, you'll go far. And you'll do what He tells you to do, and He'll open up the doors, and you're a vessel that He can use to be able to touch many people. So I would say, don't make it about yourself. Keep going and make it about God's business.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
That's good. Yeah, that's just the main thing is keep God first, like my wife was saying, and don't do anything halfway. Take your time and just do it right. A lot of artists, like I said earlier, they rush things and then they say, I could have did that a lot better, but I just rushed it trying to meet different deadlines. God don't have no deadline. Just do it in His timing and just take your time and do it right. With all your heart and all your mind and your soul, and you'll be fine.
Any acknowledgments, shout outs to listeners, family, mentors that you'd like to acknowledge?
Well, I like to have a shout out to Brother Rodney. You, Gospel Time. I want everybody to support Rodney, support all gospel DJs. They have a ministry as well.
Yes.
Friday, I want everybody listening to make sure they're tuning in to Gospel Time. Dynamic, Brother Rodney.
Yes, absolutely. Big shout out to you, Brother Rodney. Because like my husband said, if it wasn't for you and people like you, you're a vessel. You're a vessel. God gives us a call on our lives to minister and testify to people through music. But you're the vessel to get that music out there, to touch people. So your ministry is so important and so awesome. So we give a shout out to you and all your listeners, and just tell them, we just want them to be encouraged no matter what they're going through. Be encouraged and know that God is always in control.
That's wonderful, and I am deeply humbled by your words of encouragement for Gospel Time, and for it's nothing wrong with just saying God is good, and people they skip around it and they walk on eggshell. I have no problem acknowledging that God came first in my life and be creating an internet radio station, and I have no problem having gospel inspirational music and words of encouragement for people in this day and time. So SoJo Ministries, you have a home here at Smooth Jams Radio, Gospel Time, and I thank you for your time and God bless you both, and please keep us in your loop of communication to radio stations.